Hi, welcome to the International Translation Day event offered by Prose.com. Our webinar is dedicated to self-publishing and to the opportunities that it offers to both authors and translators. My name is Isabella Nanni and I have been a translator for a few years. Let's see a few data. First of all, digital platforms have deeply transformed the world of publishing in general. As more and more readers turn to ebooks, the more appealing it is for authors to self-publish for a number of reasons. Independent publishing is increasingly becoming the first choice for both formerly traditionally published as well as aspiring authors. Let's see what that means in terms of volumes. Now, ebooks accounted for about 23% of US sales in 2012. Now they have further increased and they represent about 25% of all book sales. That's huge, that's a quarter. Even countries that were a bit behind in the reach of the digital revolution are now rapidly increasing the share of ebooks. Italy, for example, and similarly Spain, as far as I'm aware of, has seen a huge increase during the year of the lockdown, or the first lockdown in 2020, and that meant that about 50% more ebooks were sold due to the restrictions of the pandemic. We went from 5.3% to 7.4%. Now, authors are drawn to ebook self-publishing for a number of reasons. First of all, creative control. Now, traditional publishers have their philosophy of what a good book is in terms of potential success, whereas authors want to be more free in terms of creativity, and self-publishing gives them no restraint. Independent promotion. Self-publishing means that authors need more connection to their readers, and that allows them to nurture their community better than they could with the filter of a traditional publisher. Self-publishing is also economically interesting. According to Publishers Weekly, writers retain all rights while earning 60 to 80% of the list price of their ebook royalty, whereas with traditional publishing, they only retain an average 5%. And that's a huge difference. You may not have the same amount of sales, but the gap is still very wide and you could earn more money self-publishing than going traditional. And you also have faster access to global markets. Now that's where translators potentially come in. Now, what kind of books are more successful in their digital form? Now, we have these data by Nielsen, who have sampled sales of ebooks by category. Romance is the best-selling category in the whole industry, even though it is made up of several different subgenres. Now, we have traditional contemporary romance like Nicholas Spark, or we have a paranormal romance like Twilight, for example, or we could have historical romance like, the retelling of Jane Austen's novels. but historical romance could also be medieval romances or romances set in ancient Rome. So it's a huge, huge category. That's why it weighs so much in the industry. Other categories that do very well in ebooks publishing are mystery, crime stories, fantasy, literary, and general fiction. Children's books, not so much, because children need paper, need something tangible. It's harder for them to relate to a digital product for obvious reasons. We also have some data on the trend up until 2014. All categories went rather well, with the exception of fantasy. So after the rise with Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, that specific category suffered a bit. So authors and translators might want to be careful before venturing into this specific genre, whereas all other categories are doing very, very well. Graphic novels, manga, for example.
Hi there, my name is Jess Michaels, and I am an American author. I write historical romance. I was traditionally published at first, and I had a lot of books translated into the Italian marketplace when I was with HarperCollins and Pocket and a bunch of other places, Sam Hain. And in 2015, I went fully indie as an author. And for a long time, I did not do translations. A few times we tried with a more traditional publisher in Italy, and we weren't very happy with that experience. And so I started looking into doing translations independently as well, where we would have more control over the product and the releases and our payment. And I was so lucky to find Isabella as my translator. She's just done an amazing, amazing job with us. And I chose my most popular series to be the first series that we translated independently in the country. And it's just done an amazing job. I mean, I'm making a full income per year right now with Italian translations alone. I mean, I could never publish something again and only do Italian translations, and I would still make an incredibly good living. So it's really paid off for us. And I want to continue doing translations, and I don't think I could ever imagine working with someone besides Isabella. As far as other markets, I have just started translating into German, the same series. So we're going to see sort of how that goes. That is not a market that I was ever translated into, even though it's a very large market, by any of my traditional publishers. So it's kind of an exciting new adventure for us. But I've just been so pleased. It's always a good thing to offer more accessibility to readers, and so the translations have been very much worth the money as far as offering that accessibility for readers who don't read in just English, and also expanding our own marketplace, expanding our own success, building just a bigger, larger, more worldwide brand is always very exciting to me. And I think one of the really cool things that Isabella does as a translator that I haven't encountered with other translators that we've worked with in the past is how much she promotes the book to Italian bloggers and sort of gets it out there and helps me do some of the promotion, because I'm very typical American, sorry. I don't speak any language except for English, as much as I would love to. And so she offers me that opportunity to reach out directly to my readership by helping me translate my newsletter content and social media posts, and also reaching out to those bloggers that I wouldn't necessarily be able to connect to, so that they know that the book is coming out. And I think that really helps to give it a great big push that we don't see in other marketplaces when we push out with a foreign release. So it's just been a wonderful experience, and I highly recommend it to other authors, especially if you have a large backlist and you're already seeing some success. Part of the way that we determined which markets to go into was just looking at our English sales in those foreign markets. So after the UK, Canada, Australia, the next foreign market that was selling the most for us in English was Italy. And then after that was Germany. So we knew that just from our experience with Italian translations before, there was a market, but also that there were readers in Italy buying English books because they wanted to read my stories. And so offering them that opportunity to do it in their own language with a good translation was just a really positive experience for us. So thank you so much, Isabella, and good luck to all authors and to all the translators out there.
Thank you, Jess. It was very kind of you to share your experience with us. I hope your German translations will do just as fine, and I'm looking forward to working with you again. Thank you. Now, you heard Jess say that she found a different partner in me, which is probably true. She mentioned how I promoted the books and how I transformed myself in the Transpromoter. So a magical beast, half translator, half promoter. Which is true. My personal approach with indie authors was to help them get the word out that the translated book was available, besides delivering a quality translation, of course. Now, you heard Jess that she already sold part of her books in her native language, in English, in my country, in Italy. Now, that made her market, of course, limited. Italy is probably one of the worst ranking European countries in terms of competence in foreign languages, which is lucky enough for us translators. So the need for quality translations is there, at least in my country. Never underestimate quality translations. It is vital. It is vital, especially romance readers or genre readers in general. Crime readers who are, fans of a genre will spot a good quality translation from a bad quality translation in a second, and they will trash the book equally fast. So if you want to retain your client, which you will probably find some difficulties in winning at first, you have to deliver a quality translation first. After that, if your bundle of services includes something that the others do not offer, like promotion, as in my case, or even, voiceover, Audible books are becoming more popular. That's a plus. That's, the cherry on the cake. But never underestimate that quality translations out there are not so frequent, or they are less frequent than you think. I have seen things that humans can't imagine in traditionally published books. So just deliver a quality translation and think of the side services later. But side services are interesting for authors, especially if they do not have access to their audience because of the language barrier. So my experience as former marketing manager helped me develop a network of micro-influencers and bloggers in the book industry in my country, which is something that my clients could not do because of the language barrier. And that helped me inform the readers that the new releases were out there, that the new book was out there. How did that work? Now this, for example, is Nielsen again, and it gives the most influential review sources by age. So my focus at first was on book bloggers. I was a book blogger myself. I am a reviewer for NetGalley. I have reviewed some hundreds books in my life, and especially romance and some crime stories. And I knew who to speak to because we spoke the same language. I know what things people may like, what things are questionable, and so I knew what to point out and what could be the flaws in the books that I translated with respect to some readers. So I sent word out that the translations were available. And this, for example, is what I call my social proof of what I did. This is my Instagram page. And on my tagged section, you see part of the posts where I was tagged as translator, where bloggers and fans helped me spread word that the book was online and available for purchase. Now, this is book one of the series that Jess Michaels first commissioned. It's a Regency romance series, the 1797 Club. Book number one, The Daring Duke, in the original title, ranked about 64 in the general Kindle ranking. As the series became known and read and more appreciated, gained momentum, we were lucky enough to come out with the first books fairly rapidly, with 2 months, one after the other. And this is where book number 4 came. It ranked number 2 in the general Kindle ranking and number 1 in the romance category on Amazon Italy. Now, Amazon makes about 85% of all ebooks sales in Italy. Ebook sales are still a minority segment of the publishing industry. As we saw, they represented 7.4% in 2020. But Jess said that allowed her to have a whole income just out of translations. With that 7.4%. Just imagine what she could have earned if the share of ebooks had been 25% as it is now in the US. And the market is growing, both in Italy as well as in Spain and Greece. So I see an opportunity there. Another opportunity for translator is self-published translations. Now, translators can self-publish their own translations of older works for which copyright has expired. Now, be careful to check the laws in each country before going online worldwide. You know, Amazon allows you to go online worldwide, but you may have problems if the copyright has not expired in the US, even if it has expired in the UK, for example. So please be careful. But with such works as, for example, Oscar Wilde's The Happy Prince, which I translated and self-published for charity, there should be no problems. Now, that allows you to prove your mettle, to have the readers have a say on the quality of your translations. And it can be an opportunity to build your portfolio as well as a source of passive income. And I must say that, unfortunately, as much as I wished it had gone better, the sales of this specific translation, which, as I said, I self-published for charity, did not go very well. There's thousands of translations of The Happy Prince out there because it is copyright free. But it was appreciated by the bloggers. They appreciated the intention behind the translation and the self-publication, and the quality was good. For something that is considered a classic. So it still gave me the opportunity to be tested and appreciated. Now, self-publishing does not only mean books. There's a whole host of creators and divulgers and influencers on social media who have provided an outlet for hidden talents to directly reach out to their audience. And these people get paid by views. Now, these people normally have to do with the language barrier. Of course, English speakers have a wider audience, but they might wish to expand it even further. Or the other way around, I don't know, Italian, we'll see an example. Italian divulgers may want to expand their audience to the global market and have at least English as a second language for their content. And of course, the restrictions we all suffered at different periods during the pandemic have contributed to the growth of online courses in several industries. Now we're speaking fitness, cooking, language learning, cosmetics. Just to give you an example, this is a real job ad which I spotted on Facebook. Non-Alive is an online company focused on experiential tourism, and they were looking for interpreters for their Italian cooking courses. Now, they're Italians, they know what they speak of when they offer Italian cooking courses. And nonna, which means granny, is something that appeals to tradition, to the way things were made before microwave, before frozen food, which is very good. It has improved a lot since it was first offered to the public. But this can be a good outlet, and they needed interpreters. So just think of something similar. If you follow some passion on social media, think if this can be an opportunity for you to offer your services and help these people get known in your country. Now, you can see that this is really a world of opportunities. The more the digital revolution goes on, the more self-publishing is a way, which means that you will have to deal with several small businesses rather than with a few big agencies or a few big publishers. Now, that was the end of it. There were the main things that I wanted to talk about. These are my contacts if you wish to stay in touch after this webinar. And you can follow me on social media, or you can reach out to me directly by email, or you can find me on Browse. This is the code of my page, and I'll be looking forward to meeting you in the questions and answers time.